Okay, so welcome everyone to this session on developing your intuition and connecting with your higher self. Welcome the ones who are here, the ones who will be watching the recording. So what we have in store today is I'm going to be sharing some ideas, some tips about how to connect with your intuition. First of all, I'm going to start talking about why your intuition is your superpower, how your life upgrades when you follow your intuition and your higher guidance. I'm going to be sharing lots of practical tips on how to do this. And like I said, I'm going to lead a healing meditation based on Theta Healing, which is a really powerful energy healing technique. So you're in for a good clearing, a good energetic healing and connection with your higher self, and hopefully you will get some guidance and some inspiration during this session. So first thing first, what do I even mean by intuition? What I mean by intuition is a way to perceive information that is not through the traditional senses, through our logical mind or through hearing, through seeing with our physical eyes, with our physical ears, right? So it's a way of perceiving information in a way that is just through a different way. So some people will feel it as a gut feeling. Some people call it a sixth sense. We use lots of different terms to refer to this. Sometimes it's just a knowing. Sometimes you seem to receive some inspiration, or someone like nudging you out of nowhere, like these divine messages, a sign, something that or information coming to you in a way that sometimes is difficult even to describe or to explain, right? So sometimes, for example, when you meet someone, you can't think, they talk and you've never seen them before, and they start talking and you can't think of anything that is inherently wrong with what they're saying. They're not doing anything bad, they're not doing anything wrong, but deep inside that they're lying, or that there's something wrong with them, or that there's something about their energy that you don't like. And how do you know that? Because what they're saying through it is not through their words. You're perceiving it in a different way. So maybe you are perceiving their energy field, their energy system. Maybe you're just sensing that information, you're reading, you're scanning them. And we don't do this most of the time. You can do it consciously, of course, but a lot of the time it's just like a knowing, some information that comes to you. You don't even have to stop and think about it, right? So and another way or another part of what I call intuition is a higher self, right? So we can think about intuition as perceiving information in the world, but we can also think about intuition as our inner wisdom, our soul, something deeper, right? Like that part of yourself that is beyond the physical plane, the higher dimensional part of ourselves. I refer to it as higher self or soul. I use the same word interchangeably. Maybe some people refer to it with a different term, but what I mean by that is when we come here with a mission, right, and we come here to this earth, there is a part of us, the spiritual part of us, the purest part of ourselves that is kind of like, and I always kind of like, I'm always signaling this way when I talk about it, because for me it's kind of like higher up, right? It's like a pure, higher dimensional part of ourselves, our soul. And that's the part of ourselves that knows what we came here to do, that knows our mission, that knows our purpose, that knows what we came here to do, that has kind of our blueprint, all the information about us. This is the purest version of ourselves, like a luminous version of ourselves, our essence, right? So sometimes when we have a gut feeling, or when we have inspiration, or when we have when we receive some guidance, or we get a new idea, sometimes it's this part of ourselves, right? It's our soul speaking, and we even use these terms, right? It's our soul speaking. And when we follow our soul's guidance, our soul's purpose, life just flows. It's 10 times easier, because you are following the guidance of the part of yourself that has all the information, that has all the knowledge, that knows what you came here to do. So what better advice than from that part of yourself, right? So I know that the difficult part is how to tell if it's actually your intuition speaking, right? If it's really that you're perceiving energy in a different way, if it's your soul, your higher self speaking, or if it's just your mind messing with you. And for that, I'm going to share some really practical tips on how to do this. But first, I want to share an example. And by the way, if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to put that in the chat and let me know. But I'm going to be sharing some practical tips. But before I do that, let me share a couple of examples of how this, for me, has literally changed my life, sometimes even saved my life, and how it can open like a new level of potentials when you really listen to your intuition. And I'm sure many times you've had a gut feeling, your soul talking, an inner voice, and you haven't listened to it, and you have gone the other direction, and then later at some point down the line you're like, oh, I knew it, I should have listened to my gut feeling, I should have listened to the intuition, I should have listened to my sixth sense. This happens all the time. It's just that because we don't practice it, because we don't kind of understand how it works, we discredit it and we ignore it. But when you actually listen, the potentials that can open up for you are the potentials that can open up are really incredible. For me, the best example I can give about this is right before the first lockdown. I was living in central London, and I was loving living in London. And I started to get a feeling, a really, really, really strong feeling that I had to leave London, that we had to move out of the city. And I was like, but why? I don't understand. I love living here. And the message, the guidance I kept getting was, get out of London. You're going to be safe. You're going to thrive there. And I'm like, but why? I'm going to be safe. Safe from what? Like, what's going to happen? I didn't understand anything at all. But it was so strong. It was so strong that I decided to go with it. So we moved outside of London, to a very residential area, lovely area, but I hated it because I was still such a city girl, and I absolutely hated living there. That was December 2019. 2 or 3 months later, the first lockdown hit, and I remember thinking, oh my God, if we had stayed in the tiny flat we had in central London, we would have been, our experience would have been so much worse. We would have been so stressed. We would have been so isolated. We would have been so uncomfortable in this tiny space. Whereas where we moved to, and again, it was a very strong feeling, the place we chose to move to had beautiful communal gardens. It was by the Thames. We could just literally like kayak, jump to the river straight from our communal gardens. So at the beginning, I didn't understand logically, right, through the traditional senses, logically didn't make any sense for me. Actually, I really regretted the decision, right? And I just wanted to move back to London. I was like, I don't care, we've paid for 6 months up front, I don't care, I'm going to get out of here. But 2 or 3 months down the line, I realized, and it was like wow, now I understand. And this is the type of potentials that can unlock when you really listen to your intuition. Now, a few tips that I'm going to share with you on how to connect with your intuition, with your higher self, before we do the meditation. The first one is quiet the mind. Learn to quiet the mind. It's impossible to listen to your soul, to your guidance, to your higher self, to your intuition, whatever you want to call it. It's impossible to listen to it with the mind is crazy busy, and especially when the mind is full of negative thoughts or intrusive thoughts or unpleasant emotions, keeping you stressed, keeping you anxious. In order for you to channel that information, or to let that, or to perceive that information, your energy field needs to be as clear as possible. You need to be emotionally centered as possible. I mean, you don't need to be a Buddhist monk to listen to your intuition, don't get me wrong, but it helps. It helps to, not to be a Buddhist monk, but to quiet the mind. It helps a lot to quiet the mind. Because otherwise you're just going to be listening to your chatter, and that's when it starts to get a bit tricky. So for me, adding meditation to my daily practice has been always a key for multiple reasons, but when it comes to developing your intuition, is a must. I mean, for me, it's a must for general well-being, emotional well-being, and self-development. But when it comes to higher guidance, it is impossible to do it if your mind is not quiet. And you don't need to do like hours and hours and hours of meditation every day, but just be able to practice that mindfulness, and to be able to not get caught in the thoughts. We're not going to be able to leave our mind blank. That's not the purpose here. You don't need that, but you need to be able to not get caught in the chain of thoughts, to not be controlled by your thoughts, but you being the one who's aware of the thoughts and controlling if you want to follow the chain of thoughts or not. So that's the first one. Learn to quiet the mind. So add some form of meditation or mindfulness or mental training to your routine. Another one is choose your timing, because we are all different. And for me, for example, if I want to access my higher guidance, I always do it first thing in the morning, before I've had breakfast, before I've opened my emails, my laptop, my phone, always with an empty stomach. Once I have food, the system gets a bit heavy, you start digesting your food. So for me, on an empty stomach before I start the day is the best time to do it. If you try to connect with your intuition, if you're trying to make a decision, and you're trying to see how it feels and to see if you get any guidance, and you're doing it in the middle of the day, in between meetings at work, you're probably not going to get your soul talking to you. It's going to be the busy mind who's going to be doing the work. And the other tip, or the other idea that I want to share with you today, is that it's all about practice. A lot of people are naturally more intuitive, like any other skills. Some people are naturally more talented, but everyone can learn how to connect with your higher self, how to listen to your intuition. Anyone can do this, and it is a matter of practice. And for me, I've always been kind of intuitive, but how can I describe it? Because it was a bit random, like I didn't feel that I was in control. Sometimes I would have a strong feeling about doing something, but if I was actively looking for guidance to make a decision, then I would get very stuck, and I wouldn't know how to do it. And I practice, and you can start practicing with small decisions that are not very important. Okay, which restaurant shall I go to tonight? This one or that other one? Which one feels better? Not which one has better reviews, not which one looks better in the outside, not which one is cheaper. Which one feels better? And test. This is a bit of trial and error, and you can test yourself. Say, oh, okay, so that time I was right, or that time it makes sense, the decision I made. Oh, that time I think I got it wrong. Maybe I was biased, maybe I was distracted. Sometimes when we are emotionally biased and emotionally attached to a decision, it can be difficult to connect with our intuition. Our emotions, our mind gets in the way. So again, back to the idea of, if we are able to have a still mind, is going to be much, much easier to connect with our intuition. And yeah, like I said, like any other skills, is something that you can practice. So some people are naturally very intuitive, but anyone can develop this this skill. So we're going to do the meditation now. So get comfortable for that. And if you have any questions, I'm just going to have a look at the chat, see how we're doing here. If you have any questions, any insights, anything that you would like to share, and otherwise we are going to start the meditation. So make yourself comfortable. You can sit down or lie down for this one, whatever feels better for you. And when you find that comfortable position, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing deeply and slowly. Inhaling through the nose, fresh air, fresh energy. Exhaling any tension, any stress, any worries. Starting to bring the awareness to the here and now. Bringing the awareness to the heart, to the present moment. Letting go of any thoughts that are not relevant to this session, to this meditation. Just let them come and go like clouds disappearing in the sky. Slowing down the rhythm of the breath, breathing deeply and slowly. Making each breath, each inhalation and each exhalation a bit deeper and a bit longer. Allowing the body to relax. As you breathe more deeply and more slowly, we're sending the body the signal that it is safe to relax, that it is safe to be here, that it is safe to go into healing and repairing mode. Allowing the muscles around the face to relax, the corners of the mouth softening, maybe drawing a gentle smile on your face. Shoulders dropping, letting go of any weight that they might have been carrying. Chest and belly expanding. With each inhalation, coming back to neutral with each exhalation. Legs feeling relaxed and grounded, grounding you into the floor. And bringing the awareness to your feet. Visualize a torrent of healing energy, of pure white light coming all the way from the center of the earth, coming all the way up towards your feet, along the legs, up along the spine, refreshing, energizing the energy field. And you allow this energy to go up, 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 all the way to the top of your head. And at the top of your head, this energy forms a bubble of white light, and you're allowing this torrent of pure white light to come all the way from the center of the earth, up through the feet, up through the legs, up through the spine, and at the top of your head, forming this beautiful bubble of light. And you step into this bubble of light and taking a deep breath, you start to make yourself lighter. You allow this bubble of light to be your vehicle, and you let it take you higher and higher, up, 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 up. Out of the room you're in, out of the building you're in, floating in this beautiful bubble of light. And you continue to elevate yourself, going higher and higher, seeing how everything becomes very small, like when you're on a plane and you're looking down and all the houses, the cars, the roads, they become tiny as you elevate yourself more and more as you go higher and higher, through the sky, through the clouds, leaving the clouds behind you. Out of the earth now and into the star galaxy, going through different layers of the universe, different stars, different constellations. Keep going higher and higher, up, up, up. When you think you can go any higher than this, take another deep breath. Make yourself a bit lighter and keep going higher and higher until you find a place where everything is pure white light. All you can see is bright white light, but it is a very pleasant experience. You might even feel the tingling of this pure white light, the energy of unconditional love, the energy of creation. Here we are one with God, we are one with one another. We are all connected through this field of white light. And just being here surrounded by this energy of unconditional love is healing. So just let every cell in the body absorb this feeling and this feeling of connectedness, of oneness. And now visualize a torrent of healing energy and unconditional love straight from this field of white light, and allow it to enter your body through the top of your head. And like a shower of light, literally let it just wash away any beliefs, any stories, any unpleasant emotions, any energetic blocks that might be stopping you from accessing your higher guidance, that might be stopping you from following your purpose, from manifesting the joyful and fulfilling life that you deserve. If anything comes to your awareness, that's good. It means that it's ready to be processed and healed. So just be an observer. Don't react if any memories or any thoughts or beliefs or parts of yourself come up to your awareness. It's just energy being processed. Just be an observer and just visualize it all being transmuted, being healed transformed into unconditional love and sent back to the light of God. Let it all be flushed out through the feet. Let the healing energy clear the way so you can create your highest life. Beautiful. And now bringing the awareness back to the field of white light. You see that in front of you, a luminous being is appearing. A luminous being that looks a lot like you. Is your higher self, your soul, your essence. And just look at her for now. Just observe. And just pay attention to her qualities. If you can see any details, it might be just a ball of light. That's perfectly fine. Just be open to receive the information that is in your highest interest. No expectations. And as you approach to her, and you got to be closer to her, ask your higher self, what advice she has for you today, if she has any guidance for you today. And if you have any specific questions for her, any areas of your life where you would like to have a bit of guidance, you can ask her and just have a dialogue with her. Just allow the communication to flow. Maybe it's not a dialogue, maybe it's just a knowing, sudden inspiration. Maybe she has an object for you. Maybe you just need to be in her presence. Whatever feels right for you. Just allow the communication to flow. Beautiful. And thank her for this advice, for this guidance. And if you didn't receive any specific guidance or messages, that's perfectly fine. Just set the intention that you will receive it in your daily life in the best and highest way for you. And now you see that your higher self, your soul, your luminous you approaches you, and you merge together in a beautiful embrace. And taking a deep breath, making space for your soul, for your luminous you, your higher self, to merge with you. So you can be together all the time. So you can access this source of inner wisdom, this source of inner guidance all the time, anytime you need it. Opening the heart space for her. And seeing how your whole body, how your whole system upgrades as you merge with her. Beautiful. And bringing your awareness back to the field of white light, where we started this healing and this connection with your higher self. Taking a deep breath, start making your way back down the same way you came up, down, 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 through the different layers of the universe, seeing all those stars and constellations coming down, 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 back to the earth, through the clouds, through the sky, coming closer and closer to the building you're in, to the room you're in. And finally landing back in the physical body, bringing your awareness back to the physical plane, back to the physical body, and especially to the feet, bringing your awareness to those cords of white light or roots of white light, taking a few moments to ground here. Very important after we do these meditations to ground here and to ground this connection with your higher self, to ground the guidance, the advice, and inspiration. And slowly starting to make any movements that feel right to the body. Maybe wiggling the toes, the fingers slowly. Maybe moving the head side to side or taking a deep stretch, whatever feels right for you. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and meet me back in the screen. Okay, my loves, welcome everyone. Take your time. I know it was a deep one. I know it was a deep journey. So take your time. Someone joined at the beginning of the meditation and said that she couldn't hear, but hopefully all the rest of you were fine. I suspect that someone would have said something if none of you were able to listen. So I would love to hear. I'm gonna have a look at the chat now. By the way, so yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat, or any insights. I would love to hear what happened there, if you received any guidance or how the connection went. Now, very important here, some people, when they do this, a connection. They get a lot of information, they get a lot of ideas, it's like a long dialogue, and they get a lot of advice. But also some people, when they do this meditation, they're like, blank. What did I do wrong? And the answer is nothing. You didn't do anything wrong if you didn't receive any specific advice, because again, we don't perceive information in the same way, right? We are all intuitive, and we all perceive energy and higher guidance in a different way. So it could be that for you, this is not the best way to get information. But as you were doing the meditation and in Theta Healing, that was working on your subconscious mind. So even if you didn't receive anything specific today, know that the connection is established, and you will receive it in the way that is easier for you. Maybe with a sign, maybe with a song that speaks to you, maybe by someone suggesting something and you being like, that sounds interesting. Where did that come from? So pay attention, keep an eye, keep your eyes and your ears open to see and to hear any signs, any synchronicities, any messages from the universe. Because I promise, when you do this work, the universe hears what you're saying and the universe responds. But the problem is that sometimes we have our eyes closed and our ears closed and we don't pay attention to it, right? So even if you didn't receive anything today, don't think that you did anything wrong or that this didn't work. And also, it is a process. If it's the first time you've ever done something like this, maybe it's not going to come naturally for you. Okay, my loves, so that was all from me today in terms of content. So if you have any questions, any insights, and for the ones of you who will be watching the recording, feel free to reach out with any questions. I'm going to make an announcement, which is I'm going to be offering between now and not the end of the year, but before I go on my Christmas break, some free Reclaim Your Power sessions. And in this is a one-on-one session, an online session. And in this session, I will guide you through a process to identify any energetic blocks that are behind self-doubts, negative thoughts, any fears stopping you from connecting with your intuition, any fears stopping you from manifesting a joyful and fulfilling life. And we will design together an action plan to clear this block so you can create the life of joy and purpose that you came here to live. And you're going to leave the session with a renewed and empowering vision of yourself and a lot of clarity around your next steps. So I will only be offering this for the next few weeks. So I'm sharing the link to book your session in the chat, and for the ones watching the recording, it will be in the description of the video. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and I think it's time to wrap up, my loves. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the ones who will be watching the recording. And like I said, feel free to reach out with any questions, any topics that you would like me to cover in future sessions, in future videos. I'm always happy to help. Lenny saying thank you for a great session. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining live. Thank you for joining live. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, my loves. In the meantime, I'm sending much love and light to everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.